Welcome to the Business Intelligence presentation. My name is Howard Nell. I work in Dubai Computer Services and Applied Technology Research Center. Now we'll start with BI. Business intelligence describes processes and technologies that transform your data into useful and meaningful information for the business. Business intelligence can handle large amounts of information to help understand what is going on and identify and develop new opportunities for your business. The use of business intelligence to assist in the development of new opportunities and making an effective strategy can provide competitive market advantages and long-term stability for your businesses. Okay, so business intelligence provides information. So did data processing and information technology. So how is BI different from DP and IT, which is data processing and IT? We'll define data processing as a term used from the 1950s to the 70s for converting data into meaningful reports. These were generally summary reports. And IT we'll define as a term that to describe data processing from the 1980s to the 2010s. These were also summary reports, but the difference we'll define is that IT allowed some flexibility to the user to generate reports without needing a programmer. So in data processing, you always needed a programmer. And in IT, the user could come up with an idea for a report and get the report without having to need a programmer. They could use softwares specifically designed to make reports. So still, BI also provides reports. Now we'll define BI a bit differently. These are reports, but they're not those that the users ask for, but those which are connected to strategy. So the business intelligence department has to understand the business and generate formulas called KPIs. KPIs means key performance indicators. So the big difference is you have people who are coming up with the idea of a report, but that report is related to the business after you understand what's going on in the business. Key performance indicators are variables which are based on actual research on the business and the market to determine which variables are actually the most important and the most effective. Knowing KPIs and deciding based on them allows strategic decisions. Key performance indicators are variables which are based on actual research on the business in the market to determine which variables are the most important and effective. Knowing KPIs and deciding based on them allows strategic decisions and tasks to deliver better results in real-world situations. So you have to understand that the business actually operates in the real world, and if you understand the real-world variables, you will be able to make better decisions. Now I'll give an example to explain. So we take data processing in the 1950s to 70s. The main objective is to print the checks and make sure that the payroll is done correctly. Now we give the information technology example. IT also does the payroll and all the other counting functions. It summarizes what's going on in the history. It also tells you what's the current stock and what's going on right now. Delivers summary reports based on the whims of other departments. That means every department tells them what to do and what kind of report to make. For example, if the marketing department wants to track their address book, IT will support them in that. Like for example, they might have a CRM or an address book software. Now we come to the BI example. Investors want to know what the company is doing right or wrong. So usually they depend on the CEO, and the CEO is supposed to run all the other departments, and everybody hopes everybody knows what they're doing. Now imagine this. Sales are going up or down, and the marketing department does not know why. It's the job of BI to find out and inform everybody what is going on and what factors it is based on. So there's the difference. You have to know what's going on. Now, okay, I like the idea of BI. How do you buy it? Okay, there shall be people who understand BI and those who take DP, that's data processing, and IT and slap the term BI onto it and try to sell it off as BI to those who have some extra profits to use, or serious investors looking to improve their business. Basically, there are two types of people: those who understand BI and those who understand it but are not really selling BI, or they're just selling simple DP or IT. So back to how to buy BI. If anyone claims to know business intelligence, ask them what the term KPI means. If they do not give the correct answer, which is key performance indicator, now you have your first business indicator in effect. Use it. An indicator tells you what's going on. If they do not know, as a BI supplier, what a KPI is, that itself is a KPI telling you they don't know what BI really is. So you use that indicator to decide, and you decide to show them the door and blacklist them as suppliers until they demonstrate excellent measurable results with other clients. You do not have to be their experimental platform for their technology experiments. Next step, if they pass the KPI test, ask the BI supplier to explain the research they have done to determine the KPIs for your business. There may be a case, there are lots of industries and very few suppliers, so there is a high chance that they might not have been able to do research in your area. So you have to request them for a quote to do research for your area. Do this for all suppliers of BI. If you have less than 5 suppliers for BI quoting for your research, you need to get more suppliers. There might be the case that in your area, or whichever area you're dealing with, or your case of business, that the market is not mature enough for suppliers. So you might not be able to get 5 suppliers. If you cannot wait, then you have to hire consultants into your company to do the research and evaluate your own capabilities. So you have to understand and get the research done for the KPIs before you do anything related to technology to implement those reports. If you do not have the infrastructure to implement BI correctly, then you should not bother until you have discussed the long-term idea with the investors of the company. If the investors say no, then forget about BI. If they say yes, then think of it as a long-term project where corners should not be cut. Evaluate all risks and returns on investments carefully for the BI project. The objective of implementing business intelligence is to get results, not to spend money on an idea. If you cannot calculate the return on investment of a BI project, then it just means you have not evaluated the project in depth enough. The only time you can go forward at a higher speed is when investors are ready to leap forward without considering the costs. Now we'll explain what kind of case allows you to invest in BI without worrying about ROI. The investors may be able to fast track a business intelligence project without considering to ROI easily when you have these two conditions met. The BI is started in a small company of theirs to learn from the experience in an immature BI supplier market. The ROI shall be realized when they use their fast gain experience in larger companies which they own. So you may be in a small company and they say okay, and they're not worried about costs because the cost for them is low because they need the information and experience to implement BI in larger companies. So even if the BI project does not make money in a small company, it's giving them a very large ROI from experience for their larger companies. Thank you for investing time in watching our presentation. I hope you were able to understand our understanding of BI so far. If you would like to return the favor, please call or email us to discuss how our consulting company can help your company grow. Thank you. Here is the contact information for contacting us. We would encourage you to have a look at our website.